everybody's an idiot. You can't do nothing without getting somebody giving you a hard time. Fun is pretty much entirely illegal.
The Joey Show.
Morning, folks. Welcome to the Joey Show. I'm Joey Avery. Hell of a program we have for you today. We weren't sure we were going to be here today. We thought maybe we'd take this week off for Thanksgiving, but it came to my attention that there is another day this week, an important day. Some would say the most important part of the American social calendar, that is Black Wednesday. If you're not aware, Black Wednesday, Blackout Wednesday, okay, is the day before Thanksgiving when many Americans, specifically suburban, probably middle to upper middle class Americans, say, hey, you know what? I got to go hang out with mom and dad tomorrow. I am getting torched with my friends tonight. It is a special day. It is an awkward day, and it is a day that you absolutely grow out of, but it is a rite of passage at some point in your life to come home from college and say, hey, you know, everyone that I wanted to try and sleep with in high school, that might all happen tonight. And then what kids traditionally do is get back together with their friends, drink way too much to be effective in any sort of social situation, and then proceed to wander out there, maybe put in a good 30 to 45 minutes. When you pregame heavy, you can walk into a bar with a certain oomph. You've got a little momentum to you. You don't care. You're dialed in. You've got it. And then at a certain point, boom, lights are on. Nobody's home. And you fumble the bag with every single potential social situation that you're dealing with. And that is what I think is such an important part of the holiday season. It is humbling. It teaches you who you really are. It makes you realize, and this is what Black Wednesday is really about. It makes you realize one of life's maxims, that you can't look back. You can't look back. Something you want to. You've been off at college, all right? You've been lifting weights. You've been girthing up. If you're a young man, if you're a lady, maybe girthing up as well. Dorm room food. It's not the best. It doesn't matter. Either way, you're both filling out your shirt and you're fired up about it. And you want to go out and you want to see someone that you just missed your chance with. Huh? Look at me now. I'm different. How do I prove that? 15 drinks in, go be weird, scream in her ear, his or her ear. It's a beautiful tradition. Now, I am in my 30s, so Black Wednesday is not what it was for me. You know, there's a temptation because you're like, oh, you want to go out, you want to see people from the past, and then you see people and you go, I was not hoping to see that guy. That's not who I wanted to see. I don't need to be hungover on Thanksgiving. I'm a little under the weather, but we pivot. I've moved into a different category. We go to a friend is hosting a party at a beer barn, a more controlled group. You do your 30s level drinking. Still a little more than you should, but not as much as you used to. You're not chasing a dragon, okay? You're just manifesting a hangover. That's it. You still need to see people. You still need to be social. You still need to make part of the holiday about you and your friends. And that's why it's special. And that's why this week we are not dropping on Thursday because it's Thanksgiving. We are dropping today on Black Wednesday because I want to encourage you to get out there and live it up to the best of your abilities. All right? If you are young and you are single, you need to go out there like it's the goddamn Super Bowl. Okay? You need to find whoever you wanted but couldn't have. This is your fourth quarter moment, all right? 2-minute drill. 2 minutes are up on the clock. This is, let's say you're 20. What is college age? I guess you're 21, whatever the fuck. Let's say you're 21. You're going out to the bars. Let me tell you something. I've lived my life. You hit 27, 28. You don't even mesh with these people anymore. Okay? You're 21. This is your 2 minutes left on the clock. If you wanted to sleep with someone, this is your last opportunity. The ball is in your hands. You got to drive down the field and execute on this play. Don't get too drunk. Get the right level. That right level of drunk where you're just, hey, I know what to say. everything that comes out of your mouth is gold. There's a level of drunk at an exciting event like that where it's not even a depressant. It's almost like a stimulant. You are locked in, all right? Find that level. Don't pass it. Mix in a water. Just because it's called Blackout Wednesday doesn't mean you need to do it. You don't need to strap up the pads like that. You're a grown fucking man or woman or whatever, and you're trying to fuck, all right? You get out there and do it. If you're in your 30s, just try to not be a pussy completely. Okay, that doesn't need to include alcohol, but this is not stay in and do puzzles night. This is an opportunity to see people. Be social, okay? You know Thanksgiving is going to be a bit of a grind. Even if you love it, it's going to be a bit of a grind. This night is about you. This is let your hair down, okay? Go do something fun. Enjoy that hometown. Try to remember why you love it, all right? It's there. It's within all of you, all right? Make this the best Black Wednesday of your life. I believe in you. I believe you can work hard enough to just have kind of a shit Thanksgiving. Are we doing a turkey trot? Do we still do that? I had an unbelievable one. I remember in my peak Black Wednesday days, I put on a clinic, all right? I was out at the bars, multiple bars, probably not falling asleep till 3 a.m., a little buzz on Jack in the Box at the end of the night. Kind of a classic. That's how I used to do things. We're cleaning it up these days a bit, but that used to be a very standard operating procedure. But my mom had forced me to do a turkey trot the next morning in what I can only imagine was a personal attack. That turkey trot, getting me to be involved in that turkey trot, it had nothing to do with the less fortunate. It had nothing to do with the homeless. It had to do with punishment. Oh, yeah, you want to go out? You can't just run a 5K? I said, I'm not running the 5K, Mom, but I will be there to support you because you gotta bend, not break, all right? So I went out there, and I was like, I'm not running. So I wore 4 layers. I had a shirt, I had a zip-up, I had a hoodie, I had a jacket, I had gloves, I had a beanie. I said, I'm not running. Well, problem is I'm a bit of an athlete. Thing fires off. We start sprinting a little bit. All of a sudden, I'm like, hey, if everyone else is, I'm not going to be the guy who's not running. I'm not the least athletic person at this turkey trot. There's a guy next to me who doesn't even have legs. I'm going to run a little bit. It would be rude not to use my privilege. So I start running a little bit, and then all of a sudden, I'm wearing all the. I get kind of warm. I warm up quick because I'm dressed for the Arctic. Next thing you know, I'm pumping. Arms are pumping, and all of a sudden, I feel great. The rush is coming back. I'm drunk again. I think I sent a drunk text while running. I was, hey, you up? All right, and no one was up. It was just me running. But then all of a sudden, I get hot. So now I'm stripping down. I'm holding all these things, and I end up finishing probably the fastest 5K I've ever run, holding a barrel of clothes in my hands like I stole them from one of the homeless people we were running to benefit. It was awesome. And that's my point. Don't ever, see, mental limitations are a problem, and we put them on ourselves too much in this day and age. I can't do this. I can't go out for Black Wednesday and also wake up and do something on Thanksgiving. Get out there and do it. Do all of it. You only live once, all right? You have a nice time today. You have a lovely Thanksgiving holiday. We talked about it last week. I encourage you to talk politics with your family. But most of all, I encourage you, look, this is a health program. We encourage health, wellness. Hey, drink a kale shake. Eat 100% meat. Suspend yourself upside down and dip yourself in an ice bath every 4th day. Whatever the current recommendation is, do what is good for you. But I do have a very important thing, and I want to hammer this home. I know I already said it. You're not on a diet on Thanksgiving. Don't put everyone else through that. If you're gluten-free and you're going to shit your pants, we can make an exception, but only if you're really going to shit your pants, because I got news for you. We're all going to shit our pants a little bit. We're all going to shit our pants a little bit. You think living this lifestyle is good for you? You think this is how I want to be all the time? No, but I'm not going to sit around a goddamn dinner table on Thanksgiving and say, I'm not having pie tonight. Sugar's bad for you. Yeah, I fucking know. Life's bad for you. On this day, we get fat as a team. Solidarity. And on the night before, unless you need to be sober, we get drunk as a team. Different levels. Find out where you're at in your life. 21, go hard. I need you out there. Okay? 33, just don't be a pussy. Just don't be a full pussy. Just be kind of fun. 40, now it kind of depends. How old are the kids? You single? Did you get a divorce? You get a divorce? You go back to 21. It's a cycle. It's a cycle, and I just want to make sure that everyone's mixing it up out there. It's good for you. Speaking of the youth, kids coming back from college, I've been reading articles. I've been seeing this all over the place. Apparently, kids don't read anymore. Have you been updated on this? Have they told you about this, that the children don't read anymore? And when I first heard that, I thought that is so alarming. This is anecdotal, but I was told a story. A friend, a teacher at Stanford, says she can't even provide the reading to students that students used to do because they won't finish it because they can't read as much as they used to. And I was appalled and I was shocked because I was like, reading is such an important part of developing thoughts, of thinking correctly, of not having your brain riddled with bullshit. But then I also was like, did I really do all the reading that was assigned to me? I did not. We had Spark Notes. Yeah, you could assign the reading. I'm getting around it. I read enough. I know things. Spoiler alert, Lenny kills the fucking rabbit, dude. I know Steinbeck, forwards and backwards. I read, I do. But how can you tell kids to read and then have the biggest star that we've produced over the last 12 months be the Rizzler? I mean, I'm watching a video today on Instagram. You know, I go from reading an article about like whatever Biden's strategy is with amping up tensions in Ukraine, and I go, I'm going to go check in on Instagram, and clocking in at 100 billion more views than whatever I was reading is a video of the Rizzler ranking fast food. Play the video.
So the first pick, I'm going to take the Chicken Big Mac from McDonald's.
That's the new item.
Yeah.
I have not
That's
tried it
my
yet.
number one.
You don't think it's too much bread?
Not at all.
My first pick, I'm going to go with the Wendy's Baconator.
Okay.
That's my favorite.
My next pick is chicken sandwich from Wendy's.
Spicy or not spicy?
I like both.
Which one do you like better?
Spicy.
That's a hit. That does numbers. That's success. You think the Rizzler's not going to have a fucking Lambo by the time he's 14? He's a superstar. Look at him. They asked him a serious question after a WWE.
Rizzler, tonight you made your AEW debut. You got to ring the bell in a very highly anticipated match. How did it feel to be out there with 10,000 people?
I mean, guys, I don't want to go through a whole Costco guys lore Rizzler type of conversation. I know that would be helpful because even though we are on YouTube, I know a lot of my audience isn't. A lot of people don't know what we're talking about. But just understand it's the most significant contribution that this country has made to culture this year are AJ Big Justice and the Rizzler. They bring the boom. That's what they do. They were Costco guys. They've parlayed it into a career. Is it going to be weird? Yes. Do I want to see any of them when they're 40? No. The man who is 40 is a fucking weirdo. But this is where we are. How can you tell someone to read? Like, who makes money reading anymore? It's a genuine question. This isn't good. I don't support this. I'm just saying that that's not who you see making money. I just see a bunch of douchebags in Miami being like fucking crypto W and then sending in like steak, gambling ads. And like, that's the only visible American success that I see. It is. It doesn't feel like anyone with old jobs is still doing it. Now, maybe that's just because I'm on the internet. Maybe I should go out. Maybe I should just go on Zillow. Maybe I should become one of those guys on the internet, and instead of that guy who's like, hey, nice car, what do you do for a living? I should go to rich people's doors and knock on them and say, hey, nice to meet you. My phone's in your face. What's your annual income? And I will do that before I get shot in the chest with a crossbow 4 houses in because people who make real money aren't on the internet. But how are you going to explain that to a child? I can't go up to a kid and say, no, you don't want to be the Rizzler ranking fast food and making tons of money. You want to be an executive for BlackRock who has made money, okay? You want to be an executive for Morgan Stanley, one of these Morgan Stanley executives who laxed up the rules a little bit and allowed them to take money from terrorists potentially implicated in 9/11. That's who you want to be, because that's the real money, honey. No, this dumb fucking kid is going to be like, I like the Frosty. Shut the fuck up, dude. Learn to read. Learn to read, because you're the last generation who has the chance. I'm already dead. Do you understand that? It's too late for me. It's too late. I had a chance. I know how to read a little bit, but we got sucked into this. This should be the last podcast you ever listen to. I'm speaking directly to the children, and our fan base is at least 99% children. No, I'm just kidding. But how can you blame them? We need to make reading cooler, and what I suggest is we just put books on TikTok, which is kind of already happening. Just every book, like if you want to read, Infinite Jest, could you put the video that they put of like the surfer guy underneath it, or something oddly satisfying like shaving the head of a chia pet or whatever shit people like, putting Play-Doh through a meat grinder or whatever? Like, put that underneath Shakespeare and you might be on to something. So I don't know how we're going to get kids to read, but it's going the wrong direction. It's going the wrong direction. We talk about this a lot on this show. I don't think it's maybe the greatest thing in the world that we have gotten smart enough with our technology to basically hack the human brain and basically distract our natural reward patterns and are just giving ourselves more and more and more all the time. And with ever expanding and more complex tools and algorithms that we don't even touch that are making it better and better and better. And we can all feel it. Like, most of the people in my life that aren't involved in this industry are like, oh, I don't have TikTok or Instagram. I don't do that. And I'm like, what do you do? And they're like, I work. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. You fucking pussy ass bitch. But I was thinking about this in particular with gambling, okay? Because I like a little gamble every now and again. Hey, match is on. I want to play. I just want to be in the game. And that's what gambling allows you to do. And please go to, no, I'm just kidding. I don't have a gambling sponsor. Eventually I will, and I will delete this episode. But it was brought to my attention that Brazil has such a bad gambling problem with online sports gambling that it is affecting their GDP. It is affecting total consumer spending. They've seen consumer spending go down relative to wage gains. And you might think, hey, wow, people are saving. Until, no, what's actually happening is a lot of that money is going directly into sports gambling. So the natural flow of the economy would be, hey, you're working class, you like watching, football. You have a little extra money, you go to the shop, you buy a beer or whatever. Now, a lot of people are throwing that on the game. It's not going back into the economy. It's going directly to these sports gambling juggernauts that have more and more and more money. And as you can see, based on the commercials that everybody's in, you've got every major celebrity, they have the most money, which is why I absolutely, even though it's completely unethical, would love a gambling sponsorship, please. And I actually like to do it. I believe in personal freedom. I'm like, you should be able to do what you want to do. I don't need this nanny state bullshit. I come back to California, I can't even use FanDuel. I'm using some shitty offshore, account allegedly to place a $5, $10 bet on a game. Who needs that? But then you look at the overall effects and you go, oh, $250+ billion industry feels like a lot for something that any gambler knows is not a winning proposition. There is nobody, and I mean nobody, who's living in a nice house and you're like, what did you do? And they're like, I'm really good at parlays. That has never happened. When you go to Vegas, all the casinos are very nice because you paid for them. We all know this, but it's part of, doing bad things is fun. The problem is now that it's on your phone and they can send you push notifications, they can basically be like, all right, I know this guy needs, this guy's out. We should send him a push. He hasn't gambled in a while. And it's just in your pocket all the time, this constant urge to do something that we know is not a winning proposition, that we know some people have a bad time with. And this is from someone who enjoys doing it and hasn't really taken like a big L because I haven't thrown a crazy amount in because I know I'm just going to lose. I make bets because I want to know from a data-driven analysis how much of a fucking idiot I am with my sports takes. And it's great. It is a pie chart of what a fucking dolt basically everyone is. Now, you're playing against machines that set the dollar place in the right, whatever. The point is this good? Is it good that we've set up dopamine traps everywhere all over the planet and it's like it's actually abnormal if you don't fall into them? I want to make fun of people who have morning routines, but 99% of people, myself included, a lot of times the first thing you do when you wake up is just look at your phone. And that sets you up for something bad. Now, to the point that you're affecting the GDP of Brazil, okay? The Brazilians, they might have a dopamine problem. What are they used to? Walking around outside in the sun, looking at dumpies? They're looking at dumpies all day. They're used to rewards. They're used to satisfaction. They're used to having a nice time. They're slamming acai, okay? They shouldn't be gambling all their money away. It's a beautiful people. So what do? I don't know. I feel like I always make this podcast so depressing. I'm good. My life is fantastic. But there are things you can do. I got hit with something. Comedian Matt Krasnowski, who helps with the podcast, sent me this interesting thing. 12-hour walk. This is what people are pitching. Some guy, I don't want to look up the specifics, some guy, he was in the Army or some shit. He's hiked all over the place. He used to walk across Alaska 12 hours a day. He has a simple pitch. One day, 12 hours. You walk the whole day. Alone. No phone. No AirPods. No listening to anything. No music. Nothing. Just you, your thoughts, 12 hours. What do? You stopping halfway, having a crank, freaking the fuck out? It's possible. Everyone's going to have a different approach to this. I kind of want to try it. It's one day, and everyone's saying it's very profound. You realize how limitless you can be. You're like Russell Wilson, Mr. Unlimited. So maybe that's what we need. Maybe we need a long walk. One long walk. Could it fix it? I may try and report back. Okay, tons of great shows coming up. Folks, last show of the year, San Jose Improv. That's going to be a doozy. It's going to sell out. Please get those tickets now, joeyavery.com/live. Merch drop is live. I'll put the link right here. Shirts, hats. Get them now. Back to the show. All right, we got a little sports comedy politics rounding out the show today. On the sports front, as many know who watch this show, a lot of times when I do this from my apartment in New York, there is a winged helmet that sits behind me. That is the winged helmet that belongs to the current national champions, the Michigan Wolverines. Now, they made news this week because they flipped the number 1 overall recruit. Now, I don't usually traffic in recruiting news. I realize it is important if you love college football, but I have trouble tracking the potential of high school students who are about to make more money than most of the people I know put together. That being said, when the number 1 overall recruit comes to your team, you start saying this recruiting thing is pretty sweet. Now, Bryce Underwood was supposed to go to LSU. He got flipped to Michigan. Why is this interesting to you when you may not be a Michigan fan? You may not even be a college football fan. Well, it is because the reason that he flipped was a partnership between a great many donors, including Dave Portnoy of Barstool Sports, who's a Michigan alum, some other rich people, and, oh yeah, Larry Ellison. If you don't know Larry Ellison, as one of the richest men in the world, he owns an island in Hawaii. So that's something. He owns an island in Hawaii. I don't know how much money he has. It's an insane amount. They were able to put together a package to enrich this young man who better fucking play well. Maybe in the 10 million range, whatever. Here's why it's interesting. The only reason that it happened is because Larry's wife went to Michigan. Now, this is where we have landed with college sports, and I have made this point before, and I will make this point again. There is nothing more American than college football. It does not exist anywhere else. It does not make sense to anyone else. The fact that that all the biggest stadiums in the country are for universities, for quote-unquote amateurs to play football, not even the best players, okay, but the schools that have the most tradition, those are our biggest stadiums. That is all our biggest money. They used to not make any money, okay, but the obsession is strong. It is so deeply and uniquely American. There's nothing quite like it. Is that always good? Of course not, but it's us. People have had a lot of concerns about money flowing into the sport for a lot of reasons. This is going to ruin some of what makes the sport special. This is going to ruin, you have your top guys, but on top of that, you're supposed to have guys coming in and just learning and being part of a team and having this experience and getting the gift of education, which, as we've discussed earlier, doesn't even matter because nobody knows how to fucking read. So now that money's gotten into it, it has become a plaything for rich people and billionaires to basically shadow fund their pet favorite schools. And I don't think there is anything more American than that. College football has completed its journey from being a earnest, a symbolic, something that had a belief and a meaning in something, even if it was kind of not true because the players were getting hosed, because some of those people do deserve money and they should be able to bring that to their community. And it is, for a lot of people, their highest chance to earn a decent living playing football, which is a very, very short career. But now it's really what America is, which is buying your way to the fucking top with almost no rules. And I would sound like I'm being negative about that, except I just fucking told you. We're number one, baby. And if Larry Ellison's on our team, you can suck our big blue dick. Go blue. National champs right now. Will we make a bowl game this year? Who the fuck cares? There is a guy, and the woman who sucks his dick is saying, I want money going to Michigan. And that man happens to own an island. It's a good day to be a Michigan fan. The rest of it feels weird, but it's fun. This is who we are. In the comedy space, Anthony Jeselnik making some waves, basically declaring war on the entire Tony Hinchcliffe, Joe Rogan sphere of Austin, Texas. Anthony Jeselnik going into an article with Vulture, basically saying that Tony's roast jokes at the Tom Brady roast were hack, and that he, I believe the direct quote is that he is a troll who basks in the shadow of Joe Rogan. Anthony Jeselnik went on to say that he doesn't like comics who do offensive material for the sake of being offensive, and he also doesn't like comics who put any of their own emotions into the art form of stand-up. His essential takeaway was that he is the only one doing it right, and he is the best at it, which is quite a take. And at first when I read this, I think a lot of people were reading it. Look, I'm involved in the comedy community. I see people sharing it for both reasons. Some people saying, yeah, fuck yeah, finally clap back on, some people in Austin who have an inflated audience just because of the eyeballs that are filtering down to them from Rogan, and it doesn't actually make them the best. You go get them, Jeselnik. Then people in Austin being like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, just taking on other comics. And I was kind of looking at it from both sides. I was like, well, I see some of his point with specific people, but then at the same time, I'm like, sucking your own cock that much is absolutely disgusting. And then I caught myself having a potential realization. Maybe he just is a dickhole, which is possible. Alternatively, if he is a man who plays a very dark character all the time and likes to ruffle feathers and likes to piss people off. And his entire character on stage is one where he kind of sits up there and acts holier than thou and talks down. And obviously his writing's very good and his jokes are very good. Well, wouldn't this, in that character, be the best way to promote that special? Now, that character could be him, but I found myself thinking it might be a waste of time having a visceral reaction to this, and he might be one of the first comedians to use more of a wrestling style or a hip-hop style tactic to drum up interest in his own special. You start some wars inside the comedy community, then it doesn't really matter if you don't have the biggest podcast. He has a big, successful podcast, but it's not as big as some of the other ones. You start talking shit to some of the other people, you get some buzz going on, you've generated a little bit of, okay, this guy thinks he's the best, well, let's watch his special. Some people hate watch it, other people watch it, and now all of a sudden you've got people watching your special, and you're using the interest and the eyeballs of other people who already have them to get that, and maybe you also don't fuck with them, so there's an added benefit. I'm certain that part's true. But I just thought that's very interesting. That's one of the first times I've seen a comic use this strategy, which we've seen work in politics, which we've seen work in rap. And now maybe he's drumming up a little bit of intrigue for his own special. Folks, something to watch for. Could be interesting. Will he be able to go in Austin and promote it? Maybe not, but you know what? Maybe it's good that some lines are being drawn. Let's ruffle some feathers. Let's have a little fun while we're fucking at it. It makes me think I'll never be that successful because I couldn't do that. I really couldn't do that. I don't. It's like I would want people to watch my special, but I would do, I would do all the stuff you have to do, make a really annoying YouTube thumbnail and a shitty title, and I would do all that, but I'm like, I don't want people to be mad at me. Do we have to? I got into this to have fun. It's so smart, though. It's what Howard Stern did. That's how Howard Stern initially became the jock, is the main radio jock, I've heard, is initially whenever he would go into a market, get expanded to a new market, the first thing he would do is pick a fight with that top radio personality. Now whoever's in Dallas or whatever and listens to Joey Cumsocks, one of my favorites, an all-time GOAT of the radio space, you listen to Joey Cumsocks every morning, and then all of a sudden he's like, now who is this fucking Howard Stern? This guy's coming in here. He's coming at Cumsocks? There's no way you can come at Cumsocks. Not Cumsocks at 106 The Bone, jizz.com. And now all of a sudden you're having your normal commute listening to, JCS, and then you're like, well, gotta see what this Stern guy's saying. Then you go over there and you go, oh, wow, that feud's a little interesting. And then maybe you like him. You gotta have the stones, though. You got to have the stones. And to be fair, if I'm Jeselnik and if you really want to go special to special, actual stand-up special to special, he's got a good argument against a lot of the people that he's going after. Finally, into politics. Biden's on his way out, and he's doing some interesting things. Extending long-range missiles into Ukraine, which is causing Russia to escalate. A lot of arguments there. Some people say, hey, this is even helpful to Trump because Trump wants to negotiate a deal, so this allows Ukraine to push further and allow them to get a better deal because everyone knows we're sprinting towards a deal. And while these are some slightly tenuous times, that's just what's going to happen when you're making a grab in front of a deal. And helping our ally in this do better will actually help Trump negotiate a deal. That's one argument. Other people are freaking out, saying that he's going to cause World War III and all that, even though Russia's the one who started it. Whatever your perspective is. I want to take aim at a different thing that he did that I found interesting. He put in, on his way out, that we might be able to use Medicare and Medicaid to pay for Ozempic. Now, this puts Trump in quite a bind. Ozempic, semaglutide, things like this have been, initially they were diabetes drugs, and then people realized they could make us less fat. And the second that happened, people were like, oh, shit. Imagine being the person who made it. You're like, actually, we're going to help people with this serious thing called diabetes. And then people are like, did you know that can make you skinnier? And you're like, oh, I'm him. Oh, I discovered the miracle, the drug that everybody's been waiting for that can make you skinnier. I'm him. That's the greatest drug of all time. That's what everyone's been looking for. Essentially how it works is I believe it curbs your reward system. So that's why they're saying it can help with alcoholism. They're saying it can help with drug addiction. They're saying it can help with all these things. It hasn't been proven. We don't know that your stomach's not going to fall out of your asshole in 25 years. You never really totally know. But given that they've shown promise for obesity, Biden is saying make them something that the government can pay for, throw them on Medicare. Stocks are pumping for big pharma. And on top of that, obesity, as long as we do have government-run health care, reducing obesity will help us actually save money in the long run. But price goes up in the short run, right when Trump is coming in trying to cock-cuss and potentially using RFK, who does not like things like Ozempic because he thinks we should eat healthy foods. I think this puts Trump in a real bind and an interesting bind because he wants to cut government spending, but he does hate fatties. He hates fatties, especially fat women. He does not like them unless they're in his administration. Otherwise, he's not very nice to them. So Trump is a man of aesthetic. He likes gold, everything. He ran Miss Universe pageants. He likes a nice skinny broad. How can he not support Ozempic? Now, government cost is going to go up, but Elon Musk also is mean towards fat women. I'm not saying I think that's right. I think big can be beautiful, and all things can be whatever it is that you want them to be, and most importantly, whatever you want from me in this moment. However, I'm sick. I've been sick the whole episode. Does this episode suck? It might. It probably does. And I sound like shit. And I'm coughing. That's not the point. I'm powering through for you because I need you to power through for all the people that you thought you wanted to see on Black Wednesday who you actually did not. And that's fine. I just don't know what Trump's going to do. He wants hot bitches. He wants to decrease government spending. What are we going to do? Is this part of making America healthy again? Do we all get Ozempic? Do we all get a kettlebell? Do we all get our own podcast to talk about fitness? Can we eat only meat and raw milk? What are we supposed to do? We will see. I don't know. But I think, and I know it is kind of crazy to be making large decisions about a war with a month left as a lame duck president, but Ozempic was a fun one. I mean, think about the things you would do if you were losing power and you're like, let's give fat people the skinny drug. Let's see what happens. It's beautifying the streets. It's worth a shot. It's fun. I mean, if he really wants to piss Trump off, he should do other fun things. What if he made Pride Month 12 of the months just for a goof? There's so much Trump has become very popular because he triggers the libs. The left says, hey, that's not cool. And he's like, fine, I'll do it. Fuck you. Just for a goof. You can't beat someone who's goofing. If someone's just going, hey, calmer than you are, you've lost. So Biden with the Ozempic, that's a fun one. Do some other fun ones. 12 months of Pride would be crazy. Mandate paint. Congressional themed butt plugs. These would be fun things. I think Trump and Biden have an understanding and they need to start making backroom deals. They need to do a little bit more of that. Like, hey, I know you can't, hey, Trump, I know you got to say you're anti-abortion. I'm going to do some of this, a little bit of that, a little backroom. We know there's things Biden wants but can't have that Trump can give him. Just a couple dudes making some fucking deals. I wonder what they're doing for Black Wednesday. I wonder if they're blacking out. I wonder if Kamala's blacking out. People were calling her an alcoholic. I never thought that was fair. I thought you're doing too much to really be an alcoholic. I think they were trying to do a juxtaposition between her and Trump. But I wonder, can she black out now? I see her 15 Chardonnays deep at a fucking petroglyph. That's what I see. I see her painting a mug, with one of Doug's grand nieces and just sucking down Shard with a little bit of a crushed up pill in there and going, you know what, that sucked, but maybe this feels good. Maybe this does feel good. Maybe I need to just paint the handle of this fucking glass-blown mug and just sit here and just softly, quietly, and slowly slip into the abyss of a nice Wednesday at Petroglyph. A Black Wednesday at Petroglyph. A Blackout Wednesday at Petroglyph. I hope that for her, if that's where she's at, if that's where you're at, do it. Take some time for you tonight, all right? Give it to friends. Don't give it to family. Or give it to yourself, okay? Do something from your past. Get one little lick of the sap from the tree of nostalgia. Do one thing that isn't quite you anymore, but just do it because you want to feel a little alive. You want to time travel just a little bit. That's what we're doing. You've moved on. You can tell something this isn't right anymore. I moved on. I'm at a different point in my life, but I just want to experience a little bit of the past because it makes me look back, because it makes me feel younger. Is that so crazy? That's a pretty normal human desire to turn back the clock a bit. What if we could just time travel? Well, you can. You can. Do something from your past. Get in a van, get a bottle of Sky vodka, pour it into a water bottle like you're not allowed to drink. Go up there, call an old friend, have a giggle. Get a DUI on the way home. It's one of the biggest nights for DUIs. Don't do that. All right? Call an Uber. Don't do that. All right? Just do a little something. Turn it back a bit just so that you can realize, hey, I'm happy with where I am now. Maybe that's what we've been chasing all along. I hope you're happy where you are now. I hope you have a lovely Thanksgiving. I hope you have a great Black Friday. If you want something to buy, go to joeavery.com/live. Buy some tickets. joeavery.com. Click the merch tab. Buy some merch. There won't be a deal. There is no deal. I made it as cheap as I possibly could. All right? You have a nice time. You enjoy your holiday. We will see you next week. Have a lovely one. Good night.
Thank God I have a podcast.